Learn how to create and inject your script stack dynamically using JavaScript to fetch JSONP data only when a specific action occurs. In this lesson, we want to look at how we can use JSONP dynamically to make requests to data on demand. So let's move on. And the first thing I want us to do is, since we want to make this dynamic, then let's add a button to our HTML. So inside our HTML, let's add a button. And let's give that button an ID of btn, which I already have styled. And then let's have an on-click property, which we'll set to empty now. And then we'll add a button and say, click me. So if I refresh, then you should see this button now. And it's looking fine. So having done that, let's move into our script stack and let's make a function. Let's call that function click button. And inside this function, let's add a variable. Let's call it maybe S, for example. Always use descriptive name. So don't mind me using S. You can use anything. So we can call it what would be, okay, let me call it maybe something like start doc, so that it can be meaningful. And inside the start doc variable, we want to use a create elements method in JavaScript. So we want to create an element. In an HTML document, the document does create element, create the HTML element specified by local name or an HTML or no element if local name isn't recognized. So we want to create a local name and then want to call that name script. So now that I have this, then I can then set the start doc and add an src property, that is the source property to it. And what is our document and the source property? It is still the same demo JSONP.php. That is this file that we have here with just 2 lines of PHP code. The variable that the variable that holds a JSON data, not really an object, because of this single code. So this makes it a JSON data. So this is a JSON data, and then an echo, a way to output this by using our function to call our JSON data. So I just refer to it using the source attribute right now. And now that I've done this, then I can append it as a child. Document.body. That is, I want it in the body of my document. .start doc. And now if I refresh and click on this button, actually nothing is going to happen. So let's move on. Now that we have this, let's go ahead and make another function and call it my object, my obj. And inside this, let me call my document.getElement by ID method. Get elements by ID, and the ID I'm talking about is actually demo. I'm referring to this ID here. Dot inner HTML equals to my obj dot name. But you see that my obj is not yet defined. So in order to make this work, then I need to pass it here as my obj. And since this and this cannot be the same, so let's just simply change this to something else like my fork. Now you can see it now. So I have two functions. This is click button. Now looking at the function's name, it's clearly telling us that this function should run when a button is clicked. And in order to make it run, then I will pass it into my on-click property of the button and pass in click button. And you can see that inside this, I am calling it with this opening and closing brackets. And this particular one, which is my form object, is actually what is calling our JSON data here. You can see my form concatenated with my JSON variable. So that's the functions that we just added here. So looking at what we have now, if I go ahead and click on this button, what do you think is going to happen? Well, let's find out. Click me. And you can see that actually nothing is happening. So let me see if I need to refresh and then click the button. And now you see John is showing. Now, in our demo underscore JSONP file, do we have name to be John? Of course, yes. So if we change it to something else, like maybe Max, just refresh, because this is not an automatic refresh. It's PHP. And I'm not using a built-in server, so I'm running it locally. And now you can see Max. So if you want something else, maybe like city, once you just update it here and refresh, then you'll be able to click the button and then get whatever information that you want to get. Now, what we have just done is that we just manipulated the JavaScript DOM, and we're able to build a script stack from scratch completely behind the scene. You can see making use of things like the create element method, the source attribute, and the append child method. So we're able to construct this brand new script. This brand new script element in memory and appending it to the bottom of the document. So what we have just done now is basically like doing something like this. What we have done with function is basically like doing something like this. Script. Then close it. Script. And inside the first one, add a source to it. And say our source is demo underscore JSONP.php. Now, so this manual way is something we have just constructed dynamically using this method and the property. And that is why it is called the dynamic JSONP, because we can construct what we want dynamically. So this example loads a button. As you can see, once you reload, then it will show a button and a hidden helper function, which is working with our file. So when the user clicks this button, the click button function fires, constructing a brand new script in memory and then appending it to the bottom of the document. So the file downloads run my function, which is what we have here, and update the text layout automatically. So what I just show as a manual way of adding it is what we have just constructed dynamically in our code so that it can work the way we want it to work. So basically, the start doc equals to document.create element is its purpose is just to create a black unattached JavaScript tag element entirely inside the browser's memory. So it hasn't affected your live web page yet. Now, when you pass in this property of source, then it configures the source location attribute of your new script stack, pointing directly to your backend JSONP server endpoint. And then finally, this is the trigger step, the document.body.append child, by forcing the new script tag into the body layout. So the browser instantly notices it automatically fires a network request to load your demo underscore JSONP.php and execute the return function padding wrapper.